pulling up to our next ride here in a few moments. This will be a good half-hour ride, I think. So, yeah, here's to either a great road trip that you'll be able to see from my dash cam, or a great conversation. Who knows what to anticipate? I do not. That's part of the joy in what I get to do in this experience, right? Let's see if my parallel parking skills still work here. Let's find out. This is like parallel parking on the opposite side of the street because it's a one-way. There we go. Yeah, it's all right, I guess. All right, and now we wait for our ride. That might be my ride, I think. I don't know. Sometimes I try to guess. It's not easy to guess. I think this might be my ride, though. Okay, let me go grab the door. I'll be right back. Hi. It must be Neva.
Yeah.
Oh my.
All right, thank you so much.
Neva, my name is Bintegers.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Welcome to the end of your Tuesday.
Let's hope so. Is it the end of your Tuesday?
No, I've got a couple more hours left still, I think. Yeah. Indeed. Nima. Like I said, my name is Bintegers. Want to give you a quick heads up on something unusual I do in my Uber.
Sure.
I feature my riders and I get them to sing opera for me while we're en route. That's a funny joke. Yes, it is a joke.
Is it a joke?
It is a joke.
Yeah, because I have a terrible singing voice.
Me too. I discovered I do as well.
Okay.
No. I live stream in my Uber, but you're off camera, so
Okay.
yeah, just be aware of when you're having a conversation, not to share things that you're like, I don't want anyone to know anything about this, for example.
Oh, you mean not broadcasted across the internet?
Well, I mean, you're your own being and you can choose for yourself. I just wanted you to be aware. So
Thank you for the heads up.
you're welcome. Although the rest would still be just more exciting, I think, but nonetheless.
So how do writers typically react to knowing that they're on live stream?
On live stream, there's two sides. There's those on my live stream and there's those in my ride. I've communicated to my followers, this is my business, so this is my first priority. So if riders uncomfortable for any reason,
Right.
we terminate it, and my online audience just knows that.
Okay.
And secondly, like I try to think it through in such a way where I can guarantee or vouchsafe that privacy factor, so that so that it's not something they're walking into saying, I didn't want anything like this, for example. But it's been well received. Why has it been well received? Let me think it through. Because that's a good question. It's been well. I think it's just because of the communication, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be fair, it seems to me, to communicate that at the end of it, saying, oh, and by the way,
You were on camera the entire time. Yeah.
right? So I do create a lot of video content, and with recorded video, though, I'm very judicious which ones I ask consent for. and I'm usually looking for enthusiastic consent. So I enjoy such magnificent conversations and connections with my riders. Most of the time, though, it's just on the personal level that I'm like, yeah, the world has no business here, right?
Right.
But should it be one of the ones that I feel is like, ooh, this could be presentable potentially, then I'll just share with them, here's my intentions of what I do on the side, and I want you to know as much as I can before you make your decision. And I would love to encourage a no answer, because that's something that our culture doesn't do very well, is know how to say no and say because they feel bad, right?
Sure.
So I encourage a no answer too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what I did before, but that would usually come at the end of the ride. But with the live stream, it's like the other way around. So it took me a few months to try and think through and say, how can we do this well?
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So how long have you been doing this?
Oh, like I say, this is like a very new feature. The live stream is days old.
Oh.
I mean, it's months old in its consideration and conception.
Ideation.
Absolutely. That's a good word. I'm going to use that word. Lovely. Yes. When you say the word ideology, do you say ideology or ideology?
Ideology.
I do the same too. I've heard some people say ideology. I'm like, it makes it sound like an idiot.
Tomato. English language is just up for interpretation at times.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's been a few months in the making, and my friends have. I do a lot of soundboarding with my friends, and they've seen how ecstatic I am for this transition. But always moving into it is a new season, and it's like, ooh, how well is this going to be received, and how well is it going to work? And so, over the few days, I've been able to catch my groove, and I'm enjoying it immensely. Yes, yeah. It captures the idea, I think, which I'm experiencing, is it captures a lot of those in the moment nuances, if you will, that facilitate the exchange. And a huge part that I just realized earlier today is I'm also able to capture when someone says no to the camera option as well too. And I love that, because they often see the consent that is granted. That's all they ever see is the yeses, right? But they never see how the no's transpire, and how the energy of the no feels like, and how we relish and make sure that that's celebrated as well. So that's also been really neat too. Thank you. I appreciate it. I can tell you my SIN number as well, my bank account number.
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm not a grifter.
That's a fairly new term, isn't it?
Grifting?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's in my, okay, so for my consumption of social media,
Yes.
maybe I'm late to the game on this one here, because grifting is used in a specific context,
Yeah.
pejoratively, right?
Yes.
And I think I only came to be aware of this word when I was watching quite a few videos of grifters. And I think I was interested because, I mean, this is a space I sort of inhabit, but I also want to know what I want to contrast myself to, and I want to see some of the examples posed out there of, stories that didn't go so well.
Right.
And grifting and grifters came along the way. And so I went down a rabbit hole with that one. So, yes.
So you looked into the etymology of the word?
Not the etymology per se, but just the usage in the way it's used.
Wow.
So grifter, I would have thought of something different in a cowboy theme beforehand. Not that I've checked into it. And then after I saw how it's being used currently,
Yes.
then I said, ooh, okay, noted.
Yeah.
We'll definitely avoid that sphere. But to avoid it, it's helpful to know what's happened in it and what's transpired, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, no, the usage of a word can even alter its definition in English. So even the word literally,
Yeah.
for instance,
Yeah.
can mean figuratively as well. Because people misuse the word enough. It's altered the definition
Yes.
according to Webster
Dictionary.
Yeah,
Which make it extremely paradoxical.
it most certainly does.
Yeah.
And anyone who is very straight-laced and like blue and analytical,
Yeah.
it like kind of destroys their mind.
Totally. So
Like, what do you
I've got my perspectives on the purists, but what's your take in the usage of language? Do you feel it can have the ability to breathe and move and be malleable, or do you prefer like that sort of alignment to an original intent?
I mean, I think there should be a balance of some sorts. I can see sides to both extremes.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the idea of censoring anyone due to trying to adhere to a certain type of rigidity with how something should be used.
True.
But at the same time, I do think it should be free flowing and malleable because we get some of the most, creative things that come out of it.
So true.
Yeah, so there should be a healthy medium.
Well explained. I also think, what's the purpose of language in the first place? And that's just the
Facilitating connection.
yeah. I like thinking of it in terms of, say, I think of it like ideas dressed up in words, and you address the creativity that goes into that too, right? So yeah, for sure. Okay, I've got a word I would love to explore with you.
Sure.
This is one that I'm doing a deep dive on in this current season.
Okay.
And I like how you think too.
Okay.
I'm very intrigued by a lot, and I'll ask questions along the way. But the word I'm thinking of is integrity. I would love to hear in your own words, how you define it. Because when I checked the Google offering for defining it, I was so disappointed.
Yeah, I'll admit I've never looked up what integrity means. But I think it's about staying true to your values and honoring honesty and compassion and doing something right even when it's not the most comfortable to do.
I like that.
Yeah?
Cool. Yeah. This is why I enjoy what I do, because it's in the candid mode. It's like, give me your top of the mind reflections, and so that's good. I like it. So I may have done a bit of like investigation into it myself as well. And you covered like the bases that I would have covered as well. One, you talk about values, and then you also talked at the end about actions aligning with it, right? So my offering was when values align with actions at the core. And that's why I appreciated your answer too. But further, check this out, because you're mentioning the etymology.
Yeah.
This is why I was bringing it up. Take a wild guess what the root word for integrity is.
Integral?
That's what I would have said too, but it's not correct.
Oh.
I would have said the same thing too.
Oh.
It's a mathematical word.
Integral?
Integer.
Integers.
Integers.
Oh.
Do you remember integers?
Yes, I do.
I had to look it up again because math was not my forte. Like whole numbers, basically.
Yeah.
And so integer is like the root word. And so when you think about the definition now of that alignment internally and externally with your values and actions, you see that sense of wholeness that kind of carries this word, integrity. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
That's when it gets really,
That's wonderful.
Your name is unique. I don't think I've met a Nima before.
Oh.
May I ask the background to it?
Yeah, so it's actually an anglicized version of the Arabic word for blessing, which is Na'ma.
Nana?
Na'ma. So people can't enunciate the sound that comes secondly, so we just go with Nima.
So, say the word again.
Na'ma.
Nama.
Yeah, so
Okay.
blessing of God.
Cool.
And it's also a Persian name.
Okay.
And yeah, so my parents didn't with the intent of naming me after like an Arabic name for blessing.
Yeah.
They themselves are not native Arabic speakers.
Okay.
So they also defer to the anglicized version.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. Did you ask them why they named you Nima or Blessing? Aside from the obvious, of course.
Well, yeah, my mother adored the meaning of it. But yeah, her criteria
Yes.
are like the more superficial reasons.
Yeah.
So her name is Uzma.
Uzma.
Yeah, and so in her family, even her sisters were essentially named with a ma at the end, four-letter names.
Yeah.
And so, it fit the bill with regards to that, right? Like it's a four-letter name, it's easy to say,
Yeah.
and it has good meaning. Great, sold. That's what we're naming her.
Nice. Okay. So your background is Persian.
I'm actually Pakistani.
Okay.
Yeah.
Today I was asked if I was Pakistani.
Ah.
Yeah.
Were you born and raised in Canada?
No.
Oh.
I mean, for most of my life I was. Yes, I should clarify.
Okay.
I was born, and in addition to Pakistanis, I've had East Indians coming and asking me as well, saying, which part of India are you from? They'll ask it. So
Yeah.
I'll tell them you can adopt me if you like, but
Are you North African?
I'm not North African either, no.
Okay.
Although they're very fair-skinned, aren't they? I'm an Ethiopian. Yeah, so I was born in Ethiopia. Spent my first few years in Kenya, Nairobi,
Okay.
before we immigrated to Canada when I was 8. So most of my life has been spent here now.
Okay.
Yeah. And were you born here?
I was born here.
You are.
Yeah.
I was trying to decipher your.
What did you land on for telling me that?
There was nothing there.
Yeah.
I used to teach English, and the companies that hired me were very specific on having a neutral accent is what they were aiming for. And so since then, I've talked to others who have different accents about the neutral accent, and they vociferously argue theirs is the neutral. So it's an ongoing conversation, right?
So, in
Yes.
terms of the intonation of my voice,
Yes.
where do I fall on the neutrality?
Western American.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yours is very, yeah, you got a lovely voice. You're welcome. And you're very articulate.
Thanks.
It's interesting what you can surmise of an individual by these cues. And I'm almost feeling guilty for stereotyping. So behind there, I was also like, and the way you formulate ideas, it sounds like you've had some experience in discipline of like organization of thoughts and clarity of delivery. So yes, there's a few things I've been noting.
So, if you were to guess,
Yes.
based on just our conversation thus far, what do you think I actually do for a living?
I wouldn't put it past you to be a lawyer in your ease of articulation. And there's a certain confidence as well. How am I doing?
Do you want to take 3 guesses?
Sure. Okay, I'll take 3 guesses.
Yeah, let's make this one right
Okay,
now.
absolutely. Okay, so I said lawyer.
Okay,
That's
so
number
you're
one.
saying this one could be.
Okay, I'm also considering I picked you up at the Brooklyn Tower.
Sorry, say that again?
I'm also considering where I picked you up, so that's another clue that I'm picking up on.
Yes.
The Brooklyn Tower.
Yes.
Oil and gas, that's very general, so I'm cheating with that one. So it's going broad. Oil and gas executive, perhaps. And then my third guess, Pakistani. Oh gosh, no, you do not fit that stereotype. I was about to say like IT, programming, but that's I don't see you there. Watch, that's the right one. No, not even accounting. I'm going off of so many cues that you've already given me, and I'm like, there's practicality behind all that you presented. Ooh, a psychologist. That would be fun. There's my third one.
Okay.
Do share with me. How did I do?
You know what? I'm sorry to say it's going to be the boring one.
Oh,
I am a innovation engineer, a chemical engineer by trade, actually,
oh, okay.
for the energy sector. So I test out viable different technologies to help us reduce our carbon emissions.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, most people don't. Even a lot of the fellow engineers I graduated with
Yes.
kind of look at me a lot. Like, girl, are you sure this was for you?
Because
Jokes on them because I did graduate with stuff like class and stuff.
amazing. I believe it. But that's the other thing is I've heard of certain stereotypes of various careers, including engineers, and you don't fit in.
Well, I know. I've been made aware of this multiple times over. I am still in the nascency of my career.
Okay.
So it's still very much like the first 5 years of me deciding to do this.
Okay.
And honestly, I love how it challenges me
Okay.
because I'm being forced to use another side of my brain. Like, for me, talking is not hard.
Okay. It's easy for
It's
you.
very easy.
Yeah.
It's always something I've had
skill in a male-dominated career,
I am.
correct? As a female,
Yeah.
as an attractive female who, stereotypically, from what I've heard, they don't get taken seriously, right? So there's the confidence that I was hearing again
Yeah.
with articulation or ability to speak and carry. So, well matched. Well
Sorry?
matched. Well matched.
Oh.
Cool. And you chose this on purpose because it challenges your mind.
Well, that, and it allows me to extend the love that I've had for math and science towards providing practical solutions
There we go.
to
I
a
like
lot
that.
of real life problems.
Now that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because that's where you and I part ways.
Math and science?
Well, science was actually my second degree that I took, and I knew before I took it that we were not friends.
Oh.
And I confirmed after it that we were still not friends. So yes, I've known that for a long time. But like you were saying something very critical, and that is you're looking for ways that expanded and challenged your mind
Yeah.
in a way that you could salivate on. Well, you're like, this is good. I want to jump on this for a bit, right?
Yeah.
I would say I feel the same sense of enthusiastic engagement in the social sciences.
I mean, I've always had an affinity for that as well. I just don't think
I can see that.
I just don't think I pursued it as a career just
Yeah.
because I don't know. I mean, engineering felt great at points.
Fair.
And perhaps I was conditioned into it. My mother was a chemistry teacher, so she naturally infused, tidbits about how science really applied in real life application from the beginning. She taught me how the scientific method worked by just making banana bread. I'm not joking. She's just like, here's our hypothesis, here's our apparatus, here's our procedure, here are manipulated variables.
Oh, this is amazing.
We want to put walnuts in for better mouthfeel.
How old were you at this time?
I was 4.
I'm starting to put a lot together now in why you're such a phenomenon for me to experience.
I was also an only child.
Oh,
so,
were you?
Yeah. So
Oh,
all
golly.
The time, the
Oh,
love,
golly.
and devotion
Went
just
into
poured
you.
into one.
All right. In what ways? I'm asking a self-reflection question now. In what ways have you identified how you are unique from most? Yes, it's a very yes.
So are we thought, like, I mean, you would have to be a little bit more specific.
Okay.
Like, what realm are we looking at? Are we looking at purely aesthetic-wise? Are we talking intellectually? Are we talking from a personality standpoint?
Give me the whole gamut, darling.
Well, I mean, you identify the fact that I work in a male-dominated field.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There are not very many that look like me.
Yeah.
And yes, I do have to speak in a certain way to be able to be taken seriously. I still struggle with that because it is an uphill battle. I am I'm also a visible minority.
Yeah.
Because I choose to wear a hijab out of my own volition. I think maybe what sets me apart is my drive and my determination, my affinity for growth. I love challenging myself in various different ways, trying to find out how I can stretch myself further to really show up as the best version of myself in any capacity. And I'm somebody who actually enjoys the journey more so than fixating on the destination.
Okay.
So these are values that my parents have infused in me, but they're ones that have carried me through some of the biggest challenges so far.
That's beautiful. Okay, that's the only anything else.
Anything else that sets me apart?
Yes. I appreciate this, by the way. Thank you.
Sorry.
I appreciate this. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying.
I really enjoy getting people to see grow, like just creating opportunities to see people grow or stretch themselves. As well.
Is that because you get on their bad side to help them grow in patience, like I do?
Sorry.
I'm enjoying helping people grow by that.
Yeah,
sorry,
no, I have a problem saying no.
Do you? Okay.
I've had that as a past problem,
Sure.
like where I overextend myself, where I sign up for everything. But I've had the privilege of being in a few leadership roles over the years in various different capacities when it comes to the nonprofit sector. And I think I've found probably the most satisfaction out of that. At one point, it was my day job. carry that with me. That is my second full-time job in addition to being an engineer. And I pull, and it's not my ploy for sympathy. It is not my sob story. It is something that makes me stronger, and I think allows me to bring a unique perspective to that of my peers.
Okay.
Yeah. I've basically lived through a lot of shit.
Carry on, yeah. And then, okay, so the thing that was also quite noteworthy, I know I'm an experience for most who get to interact with me because of the way I curate my questions and get to know someone. The way most of my students that I've taught, including adults as well, especially international ones too, I've really appreciated my proficiency with language, and yet, so there's that element that I know makes me sort of memorable, and I was hearing so much of that as I listened to you. I'm like, her vernacular, her robust grammatical utilization. I'm amazed. I know this is a delight. So, in case you do not know that, you're interesting to listen to.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
My pleasure. That's why I enjoy talking to you this whole time. I never talk to people.
How do you do
teasing.
videos then?
I was teasing.
Wait, that's totally a lie.
Busted. No, I have a generous dose of goofiness, which is not easily visible because I come across fairly well put together. And so the unsuspecting get quite surprised along the way.
Do you believe in, I say it as if it's something to believe in.
Yes.
Have you ever had to, sorry, just
That's okay.
Okay. Oh, they're finally here to pick up some of the cars that got damaged during the storms.
Wow.
Do you believe, have you read Myers-Briggs, or have you looked into the 16 personality types? Out of curiosity.
Once upon a time.
You did?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, so they have like 4 letters, and it's essentially like 16 different types of personalities.
And you know yours.
I do.
Okay, I would love to hear yours, and I'd love to hear your guesstimate of what mine might be. Are you on this side of the street or that side?
I am on this side of the street, so you're, right in front of my place.
Excellent. I'm just going to showcase my parallel skills while you answer my question.
Okay, lovely. So I'm an ENFJ.
ENFJ, okay.
And basically Myers-Briggs confirms what your observations are in terms of the fact that typically ENFJs do not become engineers.
Oh, wow, so you're like the anomaly.
I am.
Okay.
I am. Yeah, they don't really go into it. They become diplomats. They become psychologists.
Yeah.
They become teachers. Yeah.
I guessed it.
I know. I'm fighting my nature. They become teachers. Yeah. They go on to be politicians or whatever of the sort. So yeah, this is me fighting my nature, but only out of the onus of trying to help the world in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what do you guess to me? Mine is.
Goodness. I think ENFP, perhaps.
What does that mean?
Extrovert. I don't think you'd be doing
Mildly.
this otherwise. Intuitive, in the sense that you're able to pick up on various patterns, and you're analytical. Feeling, in the sense that I think you're driven more so by emotion than you are by hard thought out logic. I think that's where your affinity for creativity comes in, or trying to think outside the box, because I don't know very much Uber drivers that do live streaming.
I do.
For fun. Yeah. And then I'd say P, because I think you are perceiving as opposed to judging. Judging simply means that they are planners. They love kind of scaling things out from a bigger picture perspective. And while you do have a handle on being able to do that, I think you are also an individual that kind of goes with the flow. So that's what I would guess. Maybe take the test. It takes 10 minutes on Google. And
is that sufficient, or is thorough and more?
I feel like it's a high level way of going into some sort of introspection, but I don't think it should be regarded as true. As a scientist myself, I can say it's a pseudoscience. There's no empirical data to backing it up, but there's there's 70 years worth of literature to just read for fun. it's not the absolute truth, but it is one way of kind of being able to look at what you might be good at and where your weaknesses might be, or what you're actually like in various different capacities of your life to other people.
Yeah, in reference to like what you were saying there about feeler versus thinker, the way I process that is I have definitive, like based on my experience now in life, I am older than I seem, just so you know. But I see, like I think through my boundaries and my non-negotiables, and then that's like a fence for me. And then within that fence that I feel like I've come to understand, that's where the playfulness comes out. So like in this compound of like, I don't know, safety, I guess, is where like I run rampant.
Okay.
And yeah, that's how I sort of visualize that. So it's just, I guess, determining and saying, in my context in life and things I've come to experience and learn and value, what are those things that I want to hedge myself in within these parameters? For example, see like in conflict, instead of getting to the cliff edge of like frustration where I'm just like about to blow up, how do I scale it back? Where's my safety bounds so that I don't get over here
Nice.
in processing? Kind of like that, right?
Yeah, so you know how to emotionally regulate yourself, which is great.
Right.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Yes.
This has been a wonderful ride.
Yes, it's really nice meeting you.
Likewise. May I help you to your door?
Sure.
Okay.
Really nice.
Excellent. I'm happy to do so. Let me just pull this box. I believe you. I know.
Thank you. Everybody?
I offer. Hey friends. Alright, I got some catching up to do with some of your comments. Let me just set this all up here. Whew. Where were we? Let's have a look here. Where am I going? I was just driving one of my riders to their home. I don't understand some of these comments. I'm just going to leave them alone. All right. Thanks for the inputs that I don't necessarily understand, but I will see you on the next live stream. Cheerio.